Buh. Give me a second. I always do this every time. Let's bump me up a tiny bit. Thank you. There we go. Let's do the thing. Boy. Okay, there we go. Let's do this. Why the fuck is that stuck in my head? Let's see. You know what? While we're here, let's that's fine actually. Here we go. Sorry, give me a second. There's a lot of things that I'm doing. You know what? While we're here, enjoy music that is not mine. Alright, here we go. See, ideally, I would have... Here, let's turn this down a tiny bit. Ideally, I would have a BRB screen, and I would be finishing up scarfing down my lunch, as well as other things, but here we are. Here we go. One task down. Next task. Almost it. And then it loops. Hilarious. God, this song fucking rules. Ugh. Anyway. Wait, I'm not done yet. One more round. Give me a second. Here we go. Are we done? We're done! Yay! Yahoo! Wahoo! Perfect. Wonderful. Is everything working fine? I'm going to assume that it is. Let me listen real quick. I have to be quick about this. Boop. Yay, it works. Everything works. Wonderful. Hi! Hello! So... we're doing something a little different. In the past, for music streams, I've done composition streams, or actually, where's my piano? I want some, here we go, of course. Oh, hello? Oh, it's not plugged in. We've done composition streams, we've done analysis streams. Again, just testing out some stuff, as I am still babby at all of this, even though it's been 3 months, which is insane, but let me do this. There we go. There we go, very nice. Let me put a piano so I can score some of my thoughts. I might even put this, frankly, on my YouTube channel, or make like an edited version. I'm not sure. Some content-y vibe. Let's do... Yay! Let's turn that shit up. Good to go. Yahoo. Let's see. But yeah, so we're gonna try something different. While I just noodle around. I'm gonna break down a track that I did. Kind of explain some of the thought processes behind all of this. Break down the percussion. Break down some of the where everything came from. Some of the form. Oh, this is not. There you go. One thing I want to mention, well, I guess I'll just start with like the intro, while I just noodle around. So, if you are unfamiliar, Budgie's Bug Shop. Oh, hi, Ann. Hello. If you're not familiar, Budgie's Bug Shop is a game by the Lottonaut devs. Lottonaut was a game that I made, what? Like, it came out 2 years ago or something like that? Oh god, the ADHD coursing through my veins. Yeah, Lottonaut was a game I composed for, and they asked me again to do a track for them. And so I ended up doing this track right here. It was in the style of Wii, like, kind of mentality. Hold on, let me actually do this real quick. If you can see, now this doesn't always work. Can you see this? I'm going to check the stream. Can you see this? Yay! Perfect. So, I'm gonna solo myself. So this is what I got. They had a rough demo. Oh, hi, Doku! Hello, hello. They had a rough demo, or at least like an alpha kind of version, and this was what they sent over. It was just like a little trailer situation. And so that was what I had to work with, outside of the main conceit. Obviously, when you look at this, it's pretty clear that its main influences are we play the Wii series of games and stuff like that. And so that's pretty cool. So I actually composed a decent amount of this on stream, which is kind of funny. I'd never done it before, so it was a very, very wild experience. I quickly learned that, especially at the beginning, it's not maybe the most compelling thing in the world, especially when you're, like, instrument hunting. Like, if you look here, these are all of the potential instruments that I had on top of the main stuff here. And so it's literally, I will give you an example of what I was doing for, like, 3 hours. So I go, like... No. Okay, maybe. Okay. Okay. And that's the entire that's the entire stream. Which is a little, you know, again, I'm new. I don't know what I'm doing yet. So I have learned to do that step first before anything else. But yeah, so that was what I was doing. And yeah, so we got some drafts as I was noodling around. Let's listen. So to break down kind of what you're actually seeing right now. So we have the ideas folder here. So the ideas folder specifically is for random little things while I'm just noodling around on the piano. And I'm like, that's a really good idea. It doesn't fit into this track at all. But I want to save it. So for later. And so there's this. I have a folder on my desktop that is basically a giant list of ideas. I actually have an idea for the ideas folder for streaming stuff where I think this will be in the future, but like we do like a random number generator or something, and then we pick an idea and then we just like write on stream. I think that would be cool. That'd be fun. That's a future thing. Anyway, so this is every track, or almost every track, has this ideas folder. The 3 drafts that I made before the main idea, my reference track, just because, you know, even though I love Nintendo music and I love writing kind of adjacent Nintendo music, it's actually pretty difficult. It's a tricky balance to strike with Nintendo music, and I'll get into that later. All of this, if you ignore the numbers 1, 2, and 3, this is what makes up the musical content with no drums. And then the percussion, perk. I mean, it's kind of funny, but perk, yeah. Drums, other instruments, just in case I need something else, and then these two, whatever, doesn't matter. I don't even know what this is. Deleting that. Yeah, so that's the breakdown generally speaking. Let's... So if you saw, I guess I played it for you already, but this was the reference that they said it should sound like. So it's pretty Nintendo core, or maybe Wii core. Very stripped down, minimalistic, got a clean, sunny, like, groove to it. Yeah, so, you know, Weather Channel, but like peppier. You get the point. Yeah, well, it's deceptively simple. A track like this is deceptively simple because it's carrying a lot of like dynamic interest, but not in an in your face sort of way. And that was the goal of this entire track. And that's hard. So even though I love this kind of style and I've written tracks that are adjacent to this style, it's always difficult because you have to strike that balance. You don't want it to sound lazy. So here is the first draft that I did. I don't even remember it, frankly, so we will see how this works. Kick, snare, wee. Let's see it. These are sketches, obviously. Let's just put this in the top corner. Stumbles. Okay. So it's like, you know, it's fine. It's got that classic like bossa vibe. You know, which is great. But it's boring as hell. And it was like cute. It's a good starting point of like kind of where I wanted to go, but like, man, it was boring to me. So I was like, okay, maybe we could develop that somehow to make it more interesting. It is a little generic. So then I made this. I don't remember what this is. What is this? I remember. Yes, and then outlining the skeleton. That's cool. It's probably just noodling around, right? Yeah, figuring it out. That's what's going on. We get it. Well, let's finish it out. Weekending. Okay, but so this was an interesting draft because even though to me, frankly, this still has potential for me. Number one, the weirdo time signature, which is totally by accident. Like I think it goes between like a 5/8 and like a 11/16 or some shit like that. It is interesting, and that was what kind of was like, oh, that makes this track into something a little more interesting, but it still feels off. But it was close, and not only that, I think this draft helped a lot. In crafting, like, how do you call it? Like, some of the instruments in terms of, for example, hold on. Why? Oh, wait, what? Oh, I see. the high strings. That was a nice way to like lock in to like the style, some of the important stylistic qualities of this kind of music. Same as the bass. This bass rules. I love this bass. Yeah, very, very reminiscent. And then also like the ambiguity of the harmony is kind of nice because it was the bottom two notes were like, right, or like, right. So it's basically like an E major. I guess I'll do. It's an E major, but you know what is it, third inversion or whatever. So you get that nice crunchy bottom dissonance, but these two top notes make it consonant again, so it's kind of nice. And if I were to develop this track now, I mean, I think this skeleton is nice, the low bass piano. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this because this is, you know, just excuse me, it's just draft stuff. But I don't know. I'd probably be like. Some kind of bass movement, maybe some kind of like synth bass, like I don't know, something like that. But yeah, so that's potential. I might even use this in something else potentially. And then I did draft 3. I have no idea what this is. Let's find out. Beep. Ah, I remember. Outlining skeleton stuff. Oh. So this, I mean, okay, side note, this stuff's totally fine because it's just rough sketching and outlining stuff and experimenting. It is always funny though going back to it and just kind of being like, oh yeah, this sounds drunk and very like rough in like a funny way. This one's interesting. So again, similar vibes. Maybe not as like soothing as draft 2. I remember draft 2 being too ambient, and I was like, this is not really. It's gotta really have like this nice, active, you know, like, kind of vibe, and it wasn't given that. It was giving like Globe Channel. You know what I mean? But this has more energy. It's the right energy. That's the important thing. It was the right energy for this track. I carried over some stuff from this draft, such as the parallel sixes. Where is it? I guess I'll just do like... Yeah. I guess not sixes specifically, but it was that with the kalimba, I think? Yeah, do you see that? How like I'm taking one specific line and then merging it to have like a tiny little moment of like choral parallel harmony. That stuff feels really, really good. Right? That's really, really nice. So I stole that. I used that later in the track. Oh shit. Oh, whoops. Yeah, so this is like a very solid start. It was a little fast in terms of harmonic quickness, harmonic speed. Like, that's nice. Like, you can see that, like, with every draft, trying to, like, iterate on them. you're getting closer and closer to the idea that you have in your brain. And, you know, you have to run through tons of instruments, tons of little one-off ideas before you actually find one that sticks, draft 1, and then you realize, we can do better. And then we do draft 2, we can do better. And then draft 3, we can do better. And that's really what, frankly, that's what's beautiful about music, but it's also what's exhausting about music. At least for me. For me, it's like, it's a, like, very intoxicating process, but my God. Oh man, it is, it's a lot. It is a lot. And then we get to here. So, how am I going to break this down? Because there's a lot. Well, so I started with, I think, the drums. So let's go over that right now. Making sure things are good. Things are good. Yes, yes, yes. Nothing's broken. Wonderful. Nothing's broken. Okay. So we have the percussion here. Can you hear this? Uh-oh. This is way too quiet. Why is it so quiet? I guess it's... hold on. I mean, it is the beginning. I guess it doesn't matter, but... let's bump you up, please. Yahoo. So I make my point. And let's look at the levels to make sure that I'm not completely being overpowered by this. Okay, that's too much. Hold on, please hold. Sorry. Let's do like there. Okay, good enough. So I started with this specific bass. Again, ignore the numbers. I will explain those later. So this is just the bass line. That's all it is. Not B-A-S-S. B-A-S-E. Right here. Yep, this is what we got. It just repeats over and over and over again. I don't know if there's any specific variation to it, like especially with like transition aspects, but I don't know. Oh yeah, a little bit. Oh yeah, just because this part's missing. Okay, I see. Okay, so that's like the bass line that I got, and I got a really good vibe of that, that like groundwork. It had the right like tempo of 120, just a very, very solid, easy to work with tempo. It got that groove. It got like the bassiness that it needs. It got like the punchiness and the it's not punchy, but it's like, you know, slap, right? And it's like that dry. It's so dry. The tiniest bit of reverb, which is kind of probably caked in through everything. And I can get away with that because it's modern. But yeah, so I started with that, and then I did this. It's literally how the track developed overall. And then I came up with this thing. Yep. And that immediately was like, oh, okay, that's it. That's it. The moment that this specific instrument, which I don't even remember, soft times, is literally like, I was just fooling around. It's really kind of funny and sad that like so much of, I don't know about anyone else's music, but my music is just me dicking around on the piano, and then I find something and I'm like, all right, that's it. Like, I would like to think that, you know, oh man, this is mastermind specifically. Oh, you put here and this goes up because of it. I'm like, nah, sometimes it's just like, oh, that's kind of nice. Oh, what do you... oh, that's nice. Okay, that's it. And that's it. That's all. So it's this funny balance between like, you know, being extremely intentional about how things are flowing in terms of transitions, in terms of chord progressions. Maybe this note should go up there, maybe that note should go down there, maybe I should do this, do that. All the millions of little adjustments that like composers gotta deal with. And And then at the same time, it's like, I like this chord progression because it's nice. Or, oh, whoops, I guess that works. It's you're stumbling. You're like making something so special and so intentionally, and then you stumble on the right answer, and then you go back and forth between the two. It's insane. Anyway, so this was a stumble. I was just like, just fooling around. That sounds nice. And then, again, exactly how the track goes, I just do this. I'm like, okay. And that's like the basis. That was the starting point. If there was a draft 4, it would just be this. And so when you have that in mind, you're kind of like, well, let me just try to build on that. Now, the one thing I'll say about this track in particular that was really interesting is that the form was very hard to nail down. If you see up here, the marker is, move that. This is the marker. I guess I can quit. It's fine. The marker. I use the marker for form stuff. Technically, in Logic, there is a arrangement thing, but it's a little too rigid. I like to kind of, again, detail stuff like that. And so there was one point. It's all on stream, but I remember going back and forth on the form so much because there were specific ideas that I really liked. I was trying to staple them all together, and I was like, something's off. Like, the flow really feels wrong. And with a track like this, the reason why writing a track like this... Ow, sorry, hold on. You know what, it's fine. I don't think it needs any boosting. I was just insecure about the beginning. Yeah. So the reason why a track like this is so hard to actually write is because it's so minimal, but it flows so well. And it's just like, it's a form of really, really bare bones songwriting, and it's a hard thing to actually balance. And so I was working so hard on the form specifically just to get it, even in the slightest amount. And so I think if I recall, oh man, it's so maybe I should do this. There you go. If I recall, there were certain let me see if I can find it. There were ideas that I definitely used in different places. No, that's a later thing. That's also a later thing. Was this a later thing? What is this? Oh, that's a really later thing. Echo Plunk, maybe? Maybe. Oh, see, I'm trying to remember. That's the other thing, too. I don't have, my previous versions saved a lot of the time. Oh, that's a later thing as well. Man, where is the thing that I'm looking for? Actually, I think I know where it is. It's not this. Nope, I can't find it. Anyway, the point is it was really hard to actually properly do this stuff. And I don't even think, does the form even really match at this point? Right, that's A. That's kind of B. Yeah, that's a percussion breakdown. And then C. Outro lead in back to A. Yeah, okay. So it kind of fits. It kind of fits. But yeah, point is, form, really difficult because getting the flow of a Nintendo track is quite tough, I would say. Yeah. So I guess now I can start breaking down the individual aspects. Actually, let me just break down this 1, 2, 3. So when I was making this track, initially, it was just one track. And take away the numbers, which there's no content, no MIDI content at all, no musical content in any of the numbers. You take away the numbers, and it's exactly what I envisioned. And then the devs came back to me, and they were like, we have an idea. We're kind of fleshing this out a little bit more than we thought we would. It's still like a very short, like low commitment game, but we're kind of thinking about like progressive vibes, like progression systems. Is it possible, you don't need to compose anything new, but do you think you could maybe like break down specific versions? And I was like, yeah, sure, I've done that before, no problem, with Lotto Knot. And that wasn't too bad. So how this music is used, well, how the music was initially created was the full version. Was all like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. It was composed explicitly through phase 3. Phase 3 is its quote unquote like true form. And then I had to kind of like break certain elements down and just like pick and choose. So I believe for the title screen, what you hear is 1, which is the most bare bones. You barely hear it at all if you're just skipping through the menu. It doesn't even have the snare. Yeah, so bare bones. And that's it. The most basic melodies. Same thing. A little shaker just for... Because the click is gone, so I have to bring some kind of rhythmic upkeep. This is it. Yeah, so that's just for the title screen. And I'm actually secretly very, very grateful because there wasn't a lot of time to really like talk about it as much in terms of how it was used. I'm actually very grateful that it wasn't used long term, because I think it would get really annoying if it was used long term. So the actual game ended up being the second phase and the third phase. The second phase would be the first half. The third phase would be the second half. Do you know what I'm talking about? 1 is this is intro. You know what I mean? 2 is what a lot of people here, I would argue, for like a majority of the game. So it doesn't have a lot of these other special elements, some of these special elements. Yeah, you're like getting started with like building the track and stuff like that. You know, which is great. Which is cool. Yeah, it has its most basic elements. Initially, this didn't have bass, actually, which is kind of funny. And I'm really, really happy that I decided to put it back in, because if you were to hear this for like a majority of your experience, it would still work, but I think it helps to ground it a little bit. It helps a lot, actually. Yeah, so yeah, that's 2, and then I add in the rest of the elements that I think make sense later on, and so that is the explanation of 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3. So I like bounce those individually, and they are used in game as such. Yeah. So now, after 30 minutes, now I can actually break down all the individual aspects, likely forgetting most of them that I did, but we'll see. Let's see what's going on. So as we've discussed, 1 is the most basic stuff. This specific combination was the core. At the beginning, I knew that it was going to be very empty. So when I was composing, yeah, it's fine, I'm just gonna do this. When I was composing this track as a full thing, which I think I'm just gonna refer to at this point now, I was like, you know what? Since it's so empty on the musical side, I don't need to worry here. Here, music's doing a lot of work. Here, this is the most bare bones intro. It's very naked. And so I'm like, how can I try to make it a little more interesting? And so I decided to add some of this stuff. Let's mute these layers. Oh, whoops. Hold on. Boop. So, it's almost like it's the best word to describe it is that it is naked, which is really funny to me. Yeah, so it's just like, whoa, dude. But you put it all together with the actual. I mean, we could do the kick just so you can kind of feel what it's actually doing. So it's filling in a lot of the like offbeats, little things here and there, slightly panned. Right? So that's just the beginning, which I would argue was the most precarious, because it was so empty. Like, you need to get it right. You can't just slather on honey and just call it a day. It's like, no, you need to really have the foundational aspects good to go and sounding good. So yeah, that's what I did. That is for the intro, right? And so all together, should I go over the percussion first and then the music, or should I do it like vertically? Am I doing horizontal analysis or vertical analysis? Ugh. I will do. Let's do horizontal. It's more interesting. All right. So, so if we're doing that, then I might as well just. Whoop. Sorry. Bye bye. So that's the intro. We move on to A. There's some more music happening. Still not anything crazy, but we're just like picking up the momentum a little bit. So if you get rid of the main three, this is the main three, right? That we have to work with. We add a little hat just at the beginning for whatever reason. So again, that kind of thing. This shaker is interesting. Yeah, like a little click here. This shaker is really interesting. So I guess it's like, I don't remember when I added this, but I remember like for some reason this like really was important for me to include. And I think the reason why is because it's going into like, how do I phrase it? It's like a transition into density. So if we listen to the entire track, whoops, this is already backfiring. If you listen to the track, try to listen in. I'm gonna see if I can do this. Try to listen in on this shaker, and kind of what its purpose is. See, what I said earlier about some composition stuff is like, ha ha ha, whatever, oh, accident. This is a very intentional thing that was really important for me to include. So first just listen on its own. It's the exact same thing here. And then try to listen to it when you're actually hearing the track. So it might be a bit loud, so get ready for that. there's this as well. So for me, and this might be gunk, like abstract gunk, but for me, the intention of that shaker is like a subconscious prep to encounter something different. I would argue that like a majority of the time it's done very, very in small doses. So for example, right here, right? There's this little shaker situation, right? There's right? Just like to, I think composers will often... Oh, wow. Same thing. That's funny. Oh, is this off? It is offbeat, isn't it? Hilarious. That's really funny. I didn't even notice that. That's so unnecessary. Whatever. But yeah, so it's just tiny little things that are added to kind of like... And new section. Yeah. Oh, man, that's the killer one right there. Yeah, that's like very obviously meant as like new section. And then, it's a pickup. It's a percussion pickup. The reason why I think the shaker for me was so important is because it feels like it's signaling like we're reaching the end of this specific section and we're going into a different kind of density. And so this one, kind of getting into the beat, and I'm like signaling. Now we're kind of at the main, we've arrived at like the main A section, quote unquote. This is like a pre-A, right? This first half is basically like a pre-A and then an A. Same thing with B. Right? This is the end of the like, if we want to label it, this is kind of section 1, section 2. Right? They're two different ideas and they're being kind of stapled together by a breakdown. And I guess honestly I could have even put it here, to be honest, if I really wanted to go for the idea fully, but it's fine. Anyway, so yeah, looking at all of this, so yeah, the shaker's there. Interesting. So this is interesting too because I don't know where it is. Where is it? It's so messy. Where is it? No. Is it here? It's got to be in here somewhere, right? Where are you? Do you hear the... Oh no. Where is anything? Oh. So if you're a music person and you're watching... Oh, is this it? Label your stems, because guess what? Then this shit happens. But in the moment, I don't know. This is just me. Maybe it's like a ADHD thing. But like, in the moment, I know exactly where everything is. It's just going back to it, and I'm just like, what is happening? All right, I don't know where it is. There you are, you little bastard. Okay, it was here. I just skip it. Okay. So I added this. So this hat before was just a da-da-da, and then a da-da-da, and then I basically just repeat it. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, all that. That helps to carry a bit of momentum forward to develop the track, since it's getting a lot fuller. You don't really need a lot. When a track is being really heavy on the music, you don't really need too much for the percussion. The percussion becomes a backseat, right? in the intro, the percussion was the primary form of interest. With this, the percussion is just kind of like there, and it's the undercurrent. It's helping everything. And so this just like little addition of the hat just changes it up a little bit. It, like you're subconsciously or whatever, you're kind of perceiving it as like, oh man, things are getting more active. It's just this hat. That's all I added. Like almost nothing else is different. I'm pretty sure, at least. More stable, that kind of stuff, right? So it's just when you. Right, so it's a nice little backbeat. It keeps things moving, and then that's like the main one. The first, you know what? Let me just like do this right now, just to make life easier on me. Let's do this. Let's do. If I really wanted to be accurate with labeling, I would say like pre-A or something like that, and then like A2. That's kind of probably what I would do, and then B, Maybe that would be... Hello? What happened? Oh, okay. Maybe that would be more accurate, I think. Because this is just introducing the ideas. This is pre-A. It's like a light version of A. This is A proper. This is A lot more fleshed out. A little breakdown to give your ears a rest and a break. B... And then I guess if I wanted to do the same thing, it would be like B1 or like B1, B2, you know what I'm saying? Like that, A1. So that's kind of the vibe. Ugh, that feels weird. Hold on, let me do this. Boop. Boop. Yeah. Yeah, that feels more accurate to what the form is. Yep. And then outro's the outro. Yeah, okay. Hell yeah. Anyway, so what was I talking about? Oh, the hat. Yeah, so the hat is making it a little more interesting. And then A2, so something's different. Do I know what is different? Now that is the question, isn't it? Let's figure it out. What's different? Spot the difference. Okay, got the rhythm, got the beat. And changing now. Okay, little kick thing. Interesting. And then obviously the little transition thing. That's really interesting. I wonder why I didn't use the hat on the second part. Is it because it was conflicting with the shaker? Because there's this, and then I revert back to this. Is this a mistake? Is that a mistake? Is it because I copied this and this together? Would it really have made a difference? Let's like test this out right now. Actually, I'm curious. Would it have made a difference? Whoa. There you go. You know what? That feels like a mistake. That feels like a mistake. Oh no. Alright, scrap it all. Yeah, I think that was supposed to be a hat there. I think it sounds better with the hat because it's more consistent with the section. The shaker doesn't really conflict a lot with what the hat is doing. And there's no other instruments that are... That's so funny. All right, I don't know. Okay, I guess that's a thing. Wow, I'm never gonna unhear that now. Bummeroni. Anyway, so the things that I'm adding are, again, where is it? The little click hat, right? Or no, what is it? It's like that. It's like that little sound effect. It's all from Battery. Like most of my percussive like little hits and stuff like that are from like the Contact, this Battery thing. Yeah, it's somewhere. There you go. There it is. Yeah. Which I love, by the way. Not just this sound, but also like what its function is as like just a slightest added oomph to right to that backbeat like snare hit. That's nice. As opposed to, right? Like there's no anything, it's just a normal snare. So even just that one little bump, that's nice. And then it happens here too. Yeah. It's kind of like it's like you're like nudging, you're like pushing a little bit. Just like right at the beginning. Right? Like it's like that's kind of nice. Wow, that's really cool what I did there. Moving on. Percussive breakdown. Same thing, same vibes, except this also. So, there's a difference between the little like sparse intro here versus the breakdown here. Number one is that the sparse intro is like laying a foundation, and so the drums have a lot more of a purpose to like make things feel interesting because the music's so light. With this, the music's not light. Like if we're talking about, I'm gonna do something. Oh wait, is it just streaming Logic or? Oh, it is just streaming. Damn it! I was gonna open up CSP Clip Studio Paint and just draw a graph. Well, okay, follow my cursor. So, imagine this line is like the interest line, and so if you're right at the beginning, actually, I might as well just do it with the right. If you're at the beginning, this is so not. This doesn't. It's fine. Just follow me here. So we're at the beginning. Interest is low. You're still trying to get an understanding about what's going on. You don't know. You're being introduced to different ideas and motifs. Pre-A, things are starting to get a little more exciting. Oh, wow, like things are fleshing out. A1, oh, wow, things are properly like fleshed out in like a cool way. A2, it's getting even more exciting. There's more stuff happening. There's blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, this breakdown brings down a little bit. It doesn't go all the way down. Oops, it doesn't go all the way down here. It just goes down like kind of like a quarter, right? Like to a 25%. And the reason is because you still want to maintain the momentum that you've built, but your ears need a break, or at least my ears need a break when I'm writing. Like, you know, usually when I'm like writing something, I kind of judge things based off of what I want to hear. And so around this time, there's the pre-A, there's A1, and you repeat A, just a little more fleshed out, even more fleshed out than before. And you're like, okay, that's great. Now I need a little bit of a break, a little bit of a breather, take a breath, you know. And then, once you've taken your breath, then you can go back up again and start doing a B1, B2, even more so, and then outro, exact same thing. It goes down, and then chills out, and then it goes back down again to repeat. And so that's basically like the... it's a very effective way of maintaining interest with certain calmer moments. I mean, really it's nothing special. It's really like kind of basic flow and songwriting. I mean, look at a pop song. If you're talking about like, you have your tiny little intro. You have a tiny little intro, and then you have like a verse, right? You have like a verse here, generally a little more energy, or a little like more understated. And then the chorus hits, and you're like, oh shit, this is the chorus. And then you go back to the verse, and it's like, okay, let's take a breath, take a breather a little bit, and then you go back to the chorus, and then, oh my god, so exciting. And then you go somewhere in the middle with the bridge, and it's like the special little thing. It's kind of new. It's still kind of exciting, but it's also a little more low-key, so it's kind of riding that in between. And then you go immediately back up to the chorus. Usually this is where the vocalist is like belting and shit like that. So, and then the song ends. And so like, you know, it's very easy to understand and easy to feel like form of songwriting, I guess. And so that's just kind of what this is. Where am I? Yeah, this breakdown. It's not trying to do anything interesting. It's just keeping the momentum. I'm not trying to do a bunch of crazy little sound effects stuff here. It's like, nope, I'm just keeping it. And then we go to B1. Ooh! What was that? That was crazy. Oh, that's fun. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's a nice little like. And new section. That's what that is. That's really funny. So now this is an entirely new section, which requires an entirely new tone. So what the drums are doing is that ride, baby. Where is it? Where are you? Oh, God. Whoops. Hello? Nope. Why would it be there? There's an offbeat. I guess it's here. This should be called ride, shouldn't it? Wait, but then I... Oh, that's so funny. Oh, Ryan. Label your shit, dude. Okay. Yeah. So this is just a ride. This is just a nice little, like... Honestly, to me, rides always serve the equivalent function of, like, background noise. Or, like, ambience. Or, like, wind noise or something like that. Because the fade is not nearly as sharp as a hat. A hat is just, like that. And then done. A ride carries its sound throughout. So it's a lot nicer. It's like a smoother way of... you know, doing that nice little hat offbeat situation. Although this isn't even offbeat, is it? Let's see. Yeah, no, this is on the beat, which is intentional. Yeah. Yeah. So nice and steady, I'll say that. Very, very nice and steady. Anyway, but yeah, so that is that. Again, adding a shaker, so it's something a little different. Still the loud ass snare. And so again, B1, totally normal, like we're introducing the idea and then we flesh it out. Ooh! I love this. Where is it? The shaker. What the shaker's doing right now? Or is it the hat? Or is it here? No. Is it this one? Is it this one? Where are you? Is this it? Anyway. Yeah, point is, it's... Oh, there we go. It's the combination of the two. That's what's happening. You add those 16ths in there. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Good job, past me. Thank you, he said, still being me. Yeah, that's like cool and all. I think that is a cool thing. yeah, it's just fleshing it out more. That's really all it's doing. And then again with like the transition, the little subconscious thing, the da da da. Do you hear that little knock? Dick dick dick. Dick dick dick. And then now that we are like a little more like, okay, we're coming down from the high, let's transition back over to the beginning of the track, because that's what a game track needs to do. We go back a little more to the bare basics, but we still maintain some of this like shaker vibe. And then we're back to the original. And frankly, I mean, I could have maybe transitioned a little bit more, but the music was doing a lot for here. If we wanted to be accurate, it would be here. Because this is the beginning of the track again, or at least the transition into the beginning of the track. And so I could have done more maybe with the percussion here to smooth it out, but it wasn't super necessary, again, since the music was already smoothing it out to begin with. So yeah, that's percussion. Oh, Jesus, it's an hour. Well, time to move on to the music. Oh, boy. Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole thing. Don't worry about it. Okay, music time. Yay, music time, music time. It is time for the music part. So, let's go over some of this stuff here. So, as I've mentioned before, this is the main idea, the do-do-do. So bare bones, no music, it's all percussion. And then I did the bell plunk, right? This bell plunk, do-do-do-do-do. Very wee energy. This is super interesting. So this string, I way back I mentioned in draft 2 that that the string is kind of like, there are certain elements of Wii music that are extremely reminiscent and like indicative of what it is. There's a word for it, I can't think of it right now, but the string, that really high string, that is like, this track without that string would not nearly have sounded as much like a Wii series track. It's actually kind of insane how much it does, both from a stylistic perspective, but also like a compositional perspective. If we got rid of that, it still sounds fine, but like there's something missing. It needs that like high frequency thing that like carries over. It's such a cool like stylistic thing that, you know, a lot of tracks have. Yeah, so I'm quite happy with just how simple, like that's all it needs. It doesn't need any specific thing. It's just a long high line. Yeah, it just fills in the space, I think. I think that's what it's doing. And then it fades out. Yeah, it fades out, yeah. And then, I guess... should I break it down into... No, we're not going to break it down into the phases, because the original intention was everything at once. So we're just going to see it as everything at once. So we have that initial idea. Doom, 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 doom. So again, there's two melodies going on. There's this one, bum 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 bum. At least in the kind of A-ish section, and then bell, doom 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 doom, and they kind of like pop up in different places to reiterate it like itself. Yeah, so that's like a thing. And then this pluck, another micro melody, if you will. which is kind of similar if you go to, where is it? Wait, what? Hold on. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, so there's some like DNA similarity between this bell plunk versus the plunk here. And that's not like explicit motivic reincorporation. I think that's just like keeping the vibes similar. Because like melodic contour is important to keep in mind. So it's like, oh, I've kind of heard that before a little bit. It's familiar. Dun, 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 dun. Right? So that's nice. This pad gave me a lot of trouble. And not maybe in the way that I would have imagined. The reason why this pad gave me trouble is because I use this throughout kind of the entire thing. This is doubled, right? And so if I'm using, this is happening the entire track versus minus the breakdown, but like it happens in A, it happens in B. How do I distinguish and differentiate these two without it sounding samey? Without A and B basically just being kind of carbon copies of each other, and it doesn't really sound anything new. And what I did is, outside of the harmony, which is obviously very different, I think, if I recall, it's some of like the change, or some of the, hold on, let's listen. Right? Oh, and I shortened the releases as well. So it's just this tiny micro breath. Because otherwise it would just blend in together as like mush. Yeah, like that tiny little breath helps a lot actually. Similar thing. Same thing. And then what is in the comparison of B? Oh! Okay. Vow of silence. Here we go. Yee-hee! I'll get into that later. Yeah, this fades out a lot sooner. It almost functions more like melodically than it does harmony. Specifically in the way that it's like, this is a main thing and then we fade out. This is a main thing and then we fade out. Like, that's it, you know? Interesting. Anyway, point is it was tricky to really capture the right vibe, but I knew that the pad, once I like heard this sound, like, you know, I was like, oh, okay, this is going in. Whether it's a, right? Or whether it's a, you know, like, it's gonna, this is going in. This is, we coded as fuck. So that's a thing. This guitar thing, just a cute little, like, back end. Bam, bam. Just pops a little bit musically. Ooh, and then I distinctly remember on stream falling in love with this specific moment here. Da-da-da-da. And what I wanted to do so bad is I wanted to resolve it. I wanted to do, so it's like, right? I wanted to do because I like resolving things and I like transitions. Transitions are very fun for me, to staple things together. So it's like when I do, and I just leave it, it's the equivalent of doing a big 5 chord and then leaving you dry. It's the equivalent of doing like a, oh Jesus, I'm so sorry. That's it. It's that. You are being teased. Obviously at a much like smaller scale that nobody outside of me cares about. But and technically, if you really want to get into the weeds of it, if we're going full music anal music nerd vibes, it does resolve. It's just a delayed resolution. Da-da-da-da-da. So like this specific iteration of this pattern functions in two ways. It serves as like the conclusion as a resolution while also being the beginning of the phrase that you know of. Oh god. I did that thing where I was like looking above myself and I was just like, oh, Ryan. That was funny. Okay, but yeah, so anyway, so that the guitar provides like a fun little thing. Let's talk about the bass. Ooh, before we do that. So this thing, side note about this vintage pluck line here, this was not meant to be a recurring thing. This recurs 3 times throughout the entire track. That was not meant to be that. This was supposed to be a little cute little one-offy thing in this like little pre-A section. The reason why I decided to bring it back 2 other times is because when I came down to this breakdown section, I was like, it needs something. Like, I don't know what it needs. And I was like, well, luckily, sometimes the laziest solution is the best one. And I was like, well, let me just like reuse a previous melody as a form of motivic repetition and, you know, and then I did that. It's the exact same. Same thing right here with this outro. Yeah, same thing exactly with this outro. It's the exact same thing. So yeah, that was a happy little accident. God, that string. This string is like the MVP of this track, by the way. This one. I'm never gonna get over how happy I am with that string. This was a late addition, an extremely late addition. We're still in pre-A. Because initially it was just and that is exactly the same as this percussive breakdown here. Wow. Look at that. So actually this lived in the breakdown initially. So, or did it? Or did I do it in pre-A? I don't fucking know. Point is I wanted to just like have the constant escalation. Right? And then when I got to the breakdown, I just extended it a little bit. I started lower. Right? Wow, look at that. We arrived. So that's a cool thing. Alright, now let's get into the bass. So the bass is fun. Personally, as a composer, some composers I've talked to don't like writing bass lines. In the same way that some composers don't like writing drum lines or melodies or pads or whatever. You know, like everyone likes specific things. For me, I love writing bass lines. Something about like the ability to be groovy and the ability to kind of like have a lot of really interesting stuff, but it's such a core part of your song. I love it. I love it. So my favorite part usually is making that bass line. So let's go over the bass line little by little, shall we? So the bass line was pretty intentional throughout this entire thing. This was not an accident decision here. The first A section, when we actually get to the main section. Obviously, again, the transition. Short and sweet. That's the goal of this entire thing. Like, it's not like right? It's not long notes. It's right, and it's a very different feeling because you're not filling in the space nearly as much. Right? You can feel the pads are doing a great job in filling the space, but the bass itself is keeping this kind of like plucky energy, this plunky like this syncopated staccato kind of vibe, right? Which is at this sorry, I keep pausing it. Which is at this point, I think, what the track needs to be. It should not be like, and now we're soothing and pretty. It's like, no, we gotta keep this nice momentum going. So let me actually play it out. And one more thing. Sorry, joke. So again, staccato. Now, here's where I do something a little different. So the bass transitions into this second A section into this. Right? And it has all of those sexy little pitch bends in there, which are just wonderful. How can I see it? Oh, here. Okay. Yay! There's my pitch bends. My beautiful pitch bends. All of my children in one place. There's a reason... Okay, so there's a couple things to talk about. Thing number one to talk about. The thing I just said that I don't do because I want to keep that momentum and I don't want to make it super smooth. Guess what? I made it super smooth. Because it's justified here. A1, you're introducing stuff. A2, you've already introduced things. Now you're trying to make it a little sweeter, a little smoother, a little more interesting. So now you got, like... whatever. You get the point, right? You can afford to have slightly longer... I mean, not even slightly. I mean, it's just, you know, it's a line. It's a full melodic line. And this is maybe the most, like, pretentious art thing I could possibly say about, like, music. But this bass is kind of like... I think it functions as, like, sentences. You know what I mean? Like, I think a good bass line... I mean, I'm not a bassist, so I mean, I'm only theorizing, I suppose. But to me, when a bass line is able to carry different thoughts at different intervals in the way that we communicate, like, this is one long melodic line, done, period. And then, period. Oh, here's a more interesting one. And then here, a longer thing here, right? I don't know. To me, that kind of has a lot of the interesting dynamics because what's happening on top of everything else is already not just competing for your attention, but, like, there's different rhythms happening, there's different timings happening, syncopations and lengths of notes and all that stuff. And so, like, for me, the bass contributes to that. But it has to be done a little more subtly, because, and like with a little more restriction, because remember, the bass is not just on the extensions. It's actually like completely, it's dictating what the chord is, fundamentally. So, you know, that's like a good thing. I think that comparing them to sentences does actually help with understanding how it works, though. Yay! Oh, good! Okay, good. I'm winging it here. I ain't a teacher, so I'm just throwing it out. You know what's funny, too? Side note. My music teacher would often use food analogies. And it was always funny to me, because I was like, I already get what you're trying to say, and but now you're just using it. You're using an analogy that is making it easier for me to understand, but it wasn't in like a weird like intellectually infantilizing way. It was more so like kind of another way to look at it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. It was very charming to me. Anyway, but yeah, so that's the bass, and then I guess if we're going to a later section here, it's a similar thing here, right? Where it's like, actually, I should talk about that a little later. All right, let's keep going on with A1, steak sauce. We have this doubling situation to keep it, you know, it's like, oh, more interesting, right? This guitar is still happening. We add this synth on top of the pad. If you're thinking about it visually, this is the pad, and this is like horizontal, right? I mean, this is the perfect way to utilize this. If you look, it's not really doing too much. You know, it's a pad. It's just doing. Yep, it's providing the background harmonic content. This is providing little like blips. Now this is a controversial thing I did here, right? Because we got the da da da. Which, by the way, every time it goes up, it's highlighting and accentuating the important hits of the song. So, right from the get, along with the guitar is also doing this as well, right? Like, right? Bum, 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 da-da-da-da-da. Right? So, like, the guitar and this little staccato synth section, yeah, they're highlighting important backbeats that are happening in the track. Yes. Moving on. This is the same pad string. So this is just like this is the most, anytime you hear, whether it's in my music or I would argue in maybe every single piece of music, when you have a melody, like a main melody, and then the second time around, you hear another instrument harmonize with that melody in the exact same way. That is the greediest thing in the world. It is the most indulgent, just like I just want it to sound like good and pretty and nice. Like, again, even more. Like, it's greed. This is greed. This is musical greed. Like, oh, it's so nice, the parallel six. It's like, oh, I can't do that. Yeah, like yeah. So this is just this is for me, and I guess for the listener too. But like, I particularly love parallel six, so it helps a lot. Okay, so I think we got through A1. Now let's go to A2. The only difference musically between A1 and A2 is the bass and this. Oh my god, dude. Again, greed. This is another form of greed. I think the best composition is nuanced greed. Yeah. This pad's fucked up. This pad's so good. Okay, it's classic pad. Wonderful. It's so good. It's so good. There's nothing intellectual I have to say about this. It's just a very pretty chord mixed on top with like really sexy ass pitch sliding. And then how it goes in, it's so satisfying. To me. And within the texture of everything, it really does fill in and make it feel new. Because if this were not here, the only thing would be the bass. It's like you're repeating the exact same thing. And your brain, is already filling out. Like, it's like in a song when you hear, like, the chorus repeat itself for a second time. Like, within an instant, you hear maybe the first, like, few notes or, like that millisecond of, like, oh, this is a repeat. Your brain kind of shuts off. It's not really doing anything to expect, like, it's not paying attention. And that's not to say it's a bad thing. Obviously, repetition is really good and important. But, like, your brain knows what to expect. And I think for me, if I were to hear this again in a game context, oh, it's nice, blah, 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 and then, oh, it just repeat. Okay, that's it. And then I like tune out of the track for maybe like, it becomes a little less interesting for me. And so for me specifically, in order to keep my own interest, I need to add things for myself. Like, not just as a composer, but from the perspective as a personal listener who's making a song that I want to hear myself. I want something a little extra, something that differentiates itself, so it's not just a carbon copy. Some like old Broadway songs would do this, where they would have like, I'm being arrested. They would kind of like have one like chorus, and then they would repeat the exact same thing. Can you hear that? No, please. If you can't hear that, that's a police siren. It's just funny. Musical police is getting you for your greed. You know what? And take me. Here. You can't see me, but I'm holding out my arms. Cuff me. My greed. I stand by my greed. Nuanced musical greed. Anyway, the point is this chord really does a lot to make this next repetition feel different and feel fresh and interesting. It's nice to take a break in tracks. That's what this breakdown is for. But if I'm repeating a section, personally, I want to hear new shit. Or else, I'm going to be bored. Personally. That's really what it boils down to. I just don't want to be bored. So, that's what this is for. It feels different, but it's the same. It's a repeat. Next, we have a breakdown. And I've mentioned before that, whoa, what? Hold on. Boop, boop. I've mentioned before that the percussion isn't really doing... It doesn't need to do too much at this moment, because it's just trying to maintain the momentum. And it's kind of similar with the music aspect, but it's a little tricky. This section's tricky. So first off, this pad that you've been hearing the entire time of A suddenly turns into this. One note, build off, slight fade, one note, repeats, right? And the second time it even goes longer, just so it goes into the B1, not, more stuff for the transition for B. So that's weird thing number one. Weird thing number two, no bass. Or at the very least, minimal bass. Only on the second instance. This is basically a complete break from the rhythm the steady rhythm that we've been going on. We got the guitar, kinda, but this is functioning more as a melody and an extension of what we heard before. So it's not completely new and different and weird and scary. It's related, right? We've heard this before. Whoa. Now I'm just building a little bit on top of it so that it doesn't feel as frightening of a thing. What is this guitar thing? I did do it! I did it! Remember when I was talking about I wish that I could have resolved this? I resolved it! I didn't even realize. Wow. Right at the end of the section 2. Wow. I couldn't help myself, could I? Yeah, I was like, no, I need to. I need to. Yeah. Yeah. I guess if I also wanted to, I could maybe even have resolved this, but this wasn't even a resolution thing. I could have done like, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so that's funny. Let's see what this bass pluck is. What is this? Oh, that's transitioning into the, yep, okay, that makes sense. Oh, this is our repeat of the previous thing. Of course the string needs to be there, because of course it does. Fits in like a glove. VIP, MVP. So that's the transition, but this needed to be a strong transition. Like a really strong transition. So I've been talking a lot about transitions, like throughout the whole thing. And, you know, all of them are relatively important, right? Because they are the connecting tissue of music. This one in particular was extremely important. And the reason why is because it's an entirely new section. It has an entirely new section, entirely new identity, entirely new melodic ideas, harmonic ideas, a completely different percussive structure. We are introducing that ride, right? Because it's so different, the connective tissue needs to be rock solid and very noticeable. Like, it's a form of communication, in my mind, as a composer, to the listener. Like, you need to appropriately warn people that something really new is coming. You don't need to, I guess. But, like, you know, if you want to make it really smooth and not jarring, because if there was no transition to this little percussive breakdown to B1, or frankly, if this percussive breakdown didn't even exist and it just went from A2 to B1, that would have been so jarring. You would have had no time to process what's going on because you just finished a section and now you're immediately going in with a completely different idea. And people, like, composers can utilize that in, like, really cool and interesting ways. But this is not one of those times, right? There's times when jarring is good. It's not as common, but I've definitely done it. Jarring can be excellent. It's a tool. Like, everything is a tool. But with this is a Wii series style music track. Its entire foundation is based off of being smooth and being, like, so seamlessly, deceptively seamless, like in its structure, in how it sounds. Everything is so easy breezy, totally no worries. It's like you know the Me theme, dun 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 dun. Like, you know, that's memed for a reason, but the actual construction of it is, you could argue it maybe is a little generic of like bossa stuff, but like, it's hard. That, you know what I was talking about with We Play, this specific theme here? Like, everything I talked about with this, that the Me Maker theme is an extreme example of like bare bones, extremely fucking naked songwriting. But the reason why it's so memorable, the reason why it flows so well, the reason why you can listen to it over and over and over and over again while you're making a million me's, is because what's secretly going on is the attention to detail of making things feel smooth and making things feel like a sense of flow and a sense of blah, that kind of stuff. Like, it's seamless. It's completely seamless. And so that's what I was trying to do here. And so some examples. I already showed some examples for the percussion of what I did in order to make this transition really communicate that something is happening. Right? That's like loud. That's like pay attention. It's a form of anticipation. Here is one thing I did. Oops. Now this is an instrument I literally only used for this transition. Yep. That is... Yeah, this. It's like a reverse pad something situation. And in this case, it's okay for the pad, the long pad, to kind of like cut off abruptly, because when you're starting a new section, that new section, it's got to be, right? It's got to start right on beat. So yeah, so that's fine. That was one thing I did. Where was the other one? I think it was this one, right? Yeah, the little pad. Nope, that's wrong. This one. Was it this one? Where is it? Where are you? Oh, here. Perfect. There you are. Yeah, this one. It's the slight slide that... like, that is what is going on. So yeah, that's the transition, basically. So it's basically like we're taking a breath, but we're also preparing for this next new scary section. You don't know what's coming up, kind of vibe, right? So end of A. Breakdown. It's a little breath, a little emptier, a little more chill. A little building up excitement. It's building. The bass is coming in. Transition. And especially with that bass movement too. Just going up the half step. Dun, dun, boom, boom. Right? That's just like you're breaking the tonal center completely also. Just, it's out of the key. That's another thing of why it feels weird. Right? You can't do this. That's horrible. You need that little break. There you go, right? Your brain is prepped. And because of that, you can listen to it over and over and over and over and over again, because it's, it is appropriately guided. B. Here's our, like, kind of main melody, basically. Side melody. These are based off of previous melodies for A that I wrote. The, it's all related. It's the, what do you call it? Like, this... maybe not that one. This one. Same kind of thing. Where's my... It started with a V. Here it is. Same thing. That's literally the same. It's the same. Pam. It's the same picture. It's literally the same. Okay, so we have the bass. So this particular section is a little bit more like spicy, I would argue. It does more adventurous things than A. Harmonically, rhythmically, It's more syncopated. There's more like textural variety. So with that, the bass needs to be a little more like, you know, groovy. Little side thing. That's like a tiny little breath. If we're talking about sentences, this is a long sentence, and then this is a short one, right? Like this is the first, the main melody. Bang, 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 bang. Right? That's like a tiny little like, oh, I'm here too. As with everything, this is an introduction of the idea, and then you build on that idea once people are familiar with it. Now we just include a ton of stuff. Yeah. You want to talk about greed? You want to talk about musical greed? That oboe is greed, but we'll get there. Yup. So again, it's the exact same thing. There's not really anything different going on harmonically, other than the very end, but we'll get there. The bass, again, similar thing. It's all. I remember you. Okay, here's what's going on here. So the first instance of this is just do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, and that's it. The second instance has this little cute bam 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 bam. Hey, that sounds familiar. Where is that from? Maybe the Vintage Pluck, perhaps, or something. Yeah, so that's like a what is it? Motivic reincorporation, if you want to get fancy schmancy with it. And initially, here's something interesting that I had to learn kind of the hard way. Initially, this was in every instance. So I was like, oh yeah, perfect. That works. And then I was getting sick of it. And I hate that because I think it's like a cute little like da, 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 like that. Why am I getting sick of this? And it's because it was repeating too many times. That's like a sweetener. You know what I mean? Like it's supposed to be this moment of like, oh, it's like a bite. It's like a bite of chocolate. I just bit chocolate. It's like a bite of chocolate. But if you have the bite of chocolate too many times, it starts becoming less sweet over time. And so what I did is I took that out in this like first B section, and then I included this little side part as like a kind of like a form of teasing, foreshadowing. Yeah, right? Dun, 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 dun. It's the same thing. I didn't want to do the same thing again, so I just decided to, what a surprise, reuse another form of motivic contour. It's almost like that specific movement of big leap up, small leap up, big leap up appears through the entire track as a form of glue and cohesion. Whoa. So yeah, there's this. And then when you actually hear this, it's nice. It's like oh wow, that's so cute because it's being used in an instrument that was not using it before. We went from Woodland Adventures using it to our main melody using it, and that's exciting. And so there's that. Now let's discuss the greed. So everything is the same, basically, except like with the pad. The pad is just consistent throughout. This bell plunk and this oboe. Greed. This is true greed. First of all, this is a doubling. This is a doubling thing. Hey, I'm glad to catch you on stream for the first time. I've liked your music for years. Oh my god, years? Damn. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's very sweet. Yeah, this is a doubling thing. Right? And this is just to, like, again, flesh out this second B section. You know, just to make it more, yeah. Yeah. That's a good, I mean, a ton of bass. I could have definitely EQ'd some of that bass out, but that's fine. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, not even English, no worries. Do you do all of this thought process while composing, or are you doing it intuitively and breaking it down now with words, if that makes sense? No, it completely makes sense. The short answer is, I actually unintentionally explained this, like, a little while, like an hour ago-ish or so, but, it's both. It's both. You go back and forth. So sometimes it's very, 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 like, decisive of, like, it's almost strategic. And then sometimes it's just, I'm playing on the keyboard and, oh, I happen to find the right solution. So you go back and forth between the two. At least that's how I do it. But yeah. This oboe, we have to talk about this oboe. We need to lock in for this oboe part. I do this in my music because it feels good. So this is something where when it's getting near the end of a track, I'm like, I know the end of the track is near. I want to include something fun and sexy. I want to include this, like, little melodic line that's like, ooh, oh, whoa, what's going on? This happens through so many of my tracks. And I would argue a lot of music. This happens with tons of music. As I mentioned before, you know, it's when you're listening to a pop song and at the very last chorus or something, you know, the singer's going crazy doing all of these riffs and runs, like, you know, that kind of stuff. Like, what they're doing is they're squeezing out every amount, like let's get you higher and higher and higher and higher. Like, it's more exciting, more exciting, more exciting. That's what this is. And man, it's fun. It's fun to write little counter melodies near the end that really, like, mesh with everything and make things more interesting. Hey, check that out. Remember in draft 3 when I was like, hey, I'm gonna, like, I really like this idea that I had where I did this whole, like, da 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 da, you know, do 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 do, where I, like, kind of, like, harmonically, like, I choir voice it, like, dun dun dun, like, it goes. That's what I did. And I like it. Da, 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 da. It's like you're taking a pit stop to harmonize with other parts while still continuing. Very satisfying to my ears. Da, 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 da. That is the most like R&B riff that you'll get out of me, probably. Do do do, right? Do do do. Yeah. That's so nice. That's so nice. Listen. Greed. Anyway, that's B2. Let's talk about the transition and then the outro, and then we'll kind of basically be done after 2 hours. Jesus Christ. Here's a fun little thing I decided to do. Echoey guitar to kind of like fade out, you know? It's the Street Fighter. That's what that is. But like pleasant and not like pain. I talked about the outro, I think, with the percussion. So initially, it's just this. All right, I have a confession, everyone. I don't know how many people are here. How many people are here? 8 people are here. I have a confession. The confession is I did not quantize when I should have. And it sucks. And I don't know if this is going to be your experience, but every time I listen to the song, I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that noticeable, but it's tough. I would like you to hear, with just the kick, this guitar line. So, here's the issue with this. It is not quantized, and there are certain parts of the notes that are not on beat straight up. Especially this section, because it gets louder, so it's even more clear that it's not quantized. Now, here is my counter to this statement. I think what I was trying to do was to keep it loose and to purposefully not quantize it, because it's a guitar. And I wanted to have this kind of naturalistic, like, you know, when people are playing guitar normally, it's loose. It's loose and it's free because we're human beings and not robots. And I do like sometimes when it is intentional to keep things unquantized just a little bit. A lot of times what I'll actually do is I'll like put it to 100% strength in terms of quantize, and then I'll like decrease it by like 60. Because I play everything. Oh, this is another thing I completely forgot to mention. That's actually really important. Let me just, oh god, what am I doing? Okay, whatever. One important thing about my music that I think is weird is I play everything you're hearing, or at least like 90% of what you're hearing, I'm playing it on the piano and recording it into the program. I very rarely record any melodic or harmonic thing with piano roll, like manually like plugging it in, right? Sometimes I do if I need to, but like most of the time I'm playing everything on the piano. And so I think in a perfect world, this was played very raw. I think I accidentally quantized it. That's funny. Whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm not saving anyway. I just wish, personally, that it could have been fudged a tiny bit so it's not completely, like, it's not super rigid. It's not super out of pocket. You know, it's somewhere in between. Anyway, point is, that's a thing. In those situations, I like when the bass notes are quantized at the beginning of the arpeggio here, but the higher notes are more free. Bass notes go to higher notes are more free. Yeah, I would say so. I think it's like there's a way to be able to do this, and it works in its intended format. I just don't think it was the right execution. And again, I would like to remind everyone, this is something that nobody cares about. so like, people are, you know, it's music stuff, right? If you're a visual artist, you notice little weird off pixels that, you know, I am never going to notice or care about because I don't care. It's not my thing. But, you know, it's a whole thing. I added this sweetener, this electric piano. It's just nice. Let's add in everything with the sexy little shaker. Yeah. So it adds some like the purpose of this outro is not just structurally. It's not just to get from super exciting B2 to super sparse intro. Yeah, that's like an important thing for sure. But honestly, my purpose of the section is like I just want like a nice soothing. You went through 2 minutes of a bit of a roller coaster of like, oh, you have this idea and then you have all of this stuff, and then now you get to kind of like relax. Your shoulders start to, okay, enough excitement. You get to like decompress. And that was the point of this outro. Especially with that electronic piano. Ooh. Yeah, the bass is just... And then a final chord to transition harmonically to our original key. One thing I'll say about quantizing, by the way, is for some reason, this extremely offbeat, like kind of loose, soloistic, two-note thing doesn't bother me at all. Because I think it is so out of the rhythm of the song that it's intentional. Whereas opposed to the guitar is supposed to be a little more on rhythm. This is just soloistic. It sounds weird when you zone in on it, but I think like when you're just listening to it as a whole, I think it sounds alright. It's just adding to the complex tapestry of textures, you know. The off-pixel analogy is so spot on. I mean, it's there. I cannot tell you. This is the final little bit, and then I'll wrap up the main stuff here. But I'll tell you that like there are so many little things, not just in other people's music, but in my music, where I'm zoning in on like, this is a mistake I will never, ever, ever live down. And I'm just like, oh no, why didn't I fix that? What was going on? And then everyone's like, oh yeah, that was nice. And I was like, oh, it's a me thing. It's a me thing. It's okay. It's just because I do music, and because of that I pay attention to music-y stuff. It's just very funny. Anyway, to wrap this up, finally, after 2 goddamn hours, one more introduction with a layer for some kind of Moog situation. And then back to the original. Yahoo! Yay, we made it, everybody. Wahoo, wahoo, yay. And that's it. And that is Budgie's Bug Shop. And I titled it BBB because I abbreviate my stuff just in case for, you know, NDAE purposes. But also because for the longest time I thought it was like Birdie's Big Bash or something like that. I thought it was like a three B's, like a, you know, repetition situation. What is it called? Oh my god, what's it called? When words like ba. Whatever, doesn't matter. Point is, that's it. And yeah, that's my track. And so yeah, I would say overall I am very, very, very happy with this track. I think it flows well. I think it feels really like smooth in a way that I'm happy about. Yeah, and so that's kind of my general breakdown. I'll probably end stream in like whenever, but I don't know if people got like questions about specific stuff, like you can, you know, watch it, or you can ask them if you'd like, but outside of that, I think I've kind of broken down everything I wanted to break down. So is this stream gonna be rewatchable on your channel? I've been thinking about it, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna post eventually like all of my streams on a separate channel, just as like to keep everything kind of situation. But this one I might actually post on my main channel because it seems, I don't know. I mean, it's a track that just came out, and right? Like maybe I don't know. Maybe I want to put it on the main thing, potentially. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think about it, but yeah, I mean, so yeah, I would like to do more stuff like this in terms of like breaking down kind of mentalities of what I'm going through and all that stuff. So I guess look forward to that. Let's see. As a composer, I'm always interested in your favorite tools, synths, percussions, and so on, but I get this is a broad question. Maybe you answered it somewhere else. No, actually, I didn't. So my favorite tools to use, I mean, I guess I could, like, run through that right now. For this track specifically, I mostly used a lot of sampler stuff. So a lot of the ultimate Wii sound font. What is it called? The ultimate Wii sound font v1-1.sf2.bk. Yeah, so it's just a sound font instrument library that it's a bunch of different stuff. Yes, how many tracks are doing Wii something? Yep, 100%. Wii this, Wii that. And you know what's funny too? This is a side note. That's all manually labeled because when I was in college, there would oftentimes have, until like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I wrote all my music on a laptop, and what a surprise, an old laptop turns out can crash sometimes. The program crashes, and sometimes it loses what instrument is happening. So for example, piccolo, Wii-piccolo, pretty self-explanatory. It was not originally called Wii-piccolo. It was just called piccolo. And guess what? There's like 20 different piccolos out there with all of the sound fonts that I have. And so it's like, oh, did you mean the Battletoads piccolo? Battletoads is not piccolo, but you know what I mean. Breath of Fire, Chrono Trigger piccolo? Like, and so now I have to so I had to custom label everything. It took a long ass time, but I'm glad I did it because now I never have that problem ever again. But yeah, I use a lot of, again, video game sampler instruments, and then also like Logic's default stuff is pretty good. This is a Logic classic synthesizer. This is I don't know, like this is another one. Like I use that. If you really want to get into it, I use like Expand. I use a bunch of IK Media stuff. This was an insane fucking sale that they had way back when. It was like their 20th anniversary, something like that. And so I bought like basically all of these for the price of one of these. It was insane. Same thing with Isotope. Or, well, that's more of a... contact stuff. Sign player. Really great stuff for orchestral tools. I like it a lot. Omnisphere I got. Labs. I don't use Labs as much as I used to, but I used to use them a ton. Holy shit. And then Vital. So those are kind of my go-tos, and I really don't need to find anything else, if I'm going to be honest. That is plenty. That's more than enough. I don't want to be that person who has like 100 like instrument libraries, because I'm going to get overwhelmed. I want to find the perfect piano. I want to find the perfect like marimba sample. And if I'm going to do that, I'm going to go through all of my libraries. If I have 100 libraries, I'm going to be like, well, I want to find the right one. So I'm going to go through 100 libraries to find one marimba sample. And that's just how my brain works. It's just like, for some reason, I just can't. And then in terms of like, yeah, like percussion, battery, I use a lot, like, yeah, kind of stuff. So, actually, quick question. Do you know any tips on finding sound fonts? I never know where to look for them. Type in Google, SNES sound fonts. You will find them like easy peasy. Like William Cage has a lot of good downloadable stuff. I think there's another website. I think it might be literally called like Free Sound Fonts or something like that. I don't remember. But if you type in Google SNES Sound Fonts or Wii Sound Fonts, you are going to find a ton of sampler like instrument libraries that people very lovingly and very generously have crafted and preserved online. That's where a primary source. I mean, I'm using shit that I downloaded 10 years ago, and it's working well. Most of them work great. There's some that are a little busted, and occasionally I use it from actual like compositional standpoints. But there's some wacky little things. Musical artifacts, that's the one. Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Let me find a broken one. Is Yoshi's Island a broken one? Oh, Jesus. Sorry. No, it's not that. Where is it? Oh, Final Fantasy. Yeah, this one is broken, dude. Let me turn it down. Not that one. Where is it? Oh, there we go. Yep, this one's just like a little... Ow, Jesus. Oh, there's... Yep. Like, it's kind of cool and sick, but it's also completely not... It's all broken. It's all busted. It's not supposed to sound like any of this. Anyway, but yeah, musical artifacts, big wreck. I have hundreds of VST, but at the end of the day, I'm sucker for basic roll-in chord synths. Yeah, hell, I even need to download some basic roll-in chord synths, to be honest. Oh, it's not just me then. I thought it was Sforzano messing up on my end. Nope, some of them are busted, and that's fine. It makes for some interesting stuff. I have used it. I do distinctly remember I have used these kinds of things, like, very explicitly, for musical purposes. But, man, they are busted. But I don't know, it's like having a lot of these, classic game stuff in MIDI form. It's just really nice, because then you get really pretty, like, you know, like, right? Like the tones. Ooh, the Chrono Trigger tones are so good. And then sometimes, oh, that's funny that you say that. Yeah, Francis. Do you have any reverb on that? So here's a little secret, sneaky trick that I use. As a Mac user. When you add a new instrument, it defaults to classic electric piano. When it defaults to classic electric piano, it uses this bus. It is the slightest bit of reverb. Very, very subtle, but it's enough to actually, like, you know, like, sound nice. Not completely dry. I will very often keep this because I actually do like the slight amount of reverb that it does. Because, you know, on most things, or a lot of music that I write is basically like pretty modern styled. If I'm writing something that is very, very explicitly a pastiche of like old compositional styles, I'm taking that shit off. There's actually a game that's coming out sometime this year where I almost did not use any of those built-in tiny little reverb things to make things sound a little better, because it wasn't like authentic to the thing. So yeah, it's a whole thing. Chrono Trigger sound font is so pretty, I need to actually beat it someday. Hey, I actually need to play it someday. How about that? I'm a bad game composer. Whoopsie. It's fine. I'll get to it. God damn it. Hey, maybe in the future, I could play Chrono Trigger for the first time blind on stream. That would be really fun. But that's a later thing. Still baby. Let's not get too ambitious. Hard to find some resources. Very helpful. Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, of course. Happy to share. I have no interest in gatekeeping hardware or material or software or anything like that. So I tried to use Nave's SNS delay. It's pretty annoying, so I'm glad somebody else uses basic reference sound fonts. Makes me better at doing it. Listen, I know that like in the past in other circles there's been a really big thing about like 8-bit or fake bit, like in chiptune circles of like, oh, it's not authentic. It doesn't sound authentic. There's not like intense artifacting. Like you're not using the original content. And I'm like, there's a time and place for that. And I think it's a good thing to be able to actually like find a place where that is valued. That is genuinely important. However, this is the 21st century, baby. And, you know, do I need to be extremely... Do I need to, like, build every single instrument up from scratch? No. You can use presets. It's okay. You can use some built-in reverbs. It's gonna be okay. Like, it's okay, you know? And so, yeah, it's a whole thing. I'd be down to watch Chrono Trigger. There are a handful of soundtracks I like a lot. I haven't played the games they're from. Oh my god, Earthbound, massive example for me. Don't know if I'll ever pick up Kingdom Hearts, for example, but I think Shimomura is one of my favorite composers. Hot take alert. I need to listen to more Yoko Shimomura soundtracks because of the small amount. Not small. I've heard a decent amount. She's fine for me. It's not a quality thing. I think she makes excellent music, but in terms of taste, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, a lot of the stuff that I've heard from her is like, hell yeah, cool. Like, the Mario and Luigi stuff is like most of the music, in my opinion. It's not even my opinion, it's just my perspective of just like, yeah, it just doesn't really hit as much for me specifically. But I really, really want to I'd be curious to delve into Kingdom Hearts. I haven't played that game, actually. I did have a crush on Sora when I was a kid, but that's another story. I'm not a fan of Shimomura, but I love her early style, especially in Parasite Eve. Ooh, yeah, I don't know that. I don't know that, like, at all, actually. Like, at all. Yeah, I'd be curious. I like her stuff in Live Alive or Live Alive. Yeah, there was something that came out recently, huh, about that. Like a remaster or something? Anyway, we're just talking and gabbing. Well, if I'm gonna do that, again, like, I'll probably wrap up fairly soon, but we're just kind of chilling at this point. But if I'm gonna chill, if I'm just gonna chill and chat, I'm gonna noodle around. There's no wrong notes. No, there's wrong notes. In jazz, there's never any wrong notes. If you're working modally, you can be out of the mode and it sounds wrong. I'm curious, what are your main inspirations, VGM or outside VGM, in terms of style? I'm a jazz boy. I am a jazz head for sure. That being said, I guess you could say it's like kind of varied. It's a little all over the place for me. So when I was a kid, obviously game music and Nintendo stuff, but I listened to a lot of like, my dad would put like Beatles on, and I am a huge Beatles fan. I would listen to like old Tyler the Creator stuff in high school. I would listen to what else, like, you know, I would listen to like kind of crazy Penderecki, like, kind of symphonies, some of like the crazy atonal shit. There'd be some like folk music that I really enjoy. There'd be some like R&B that I really enjoy. So I'm kind of just like, I will say, I guess I kind of give this advice. I don't know if anyone's really asking for it, but I guess like, what was I gonna say? Oh, I think the best thing that you can do for your musical voice is to expose yourself to a million different styles. The more input that you get intellectually and spiritually, I guess, not literally spiritually, but like musically spiritually, the more that you're going to have a unique voice because you know what exists out in the world. But yeah, I would also say like a lot of the core stylistic influences is from my piano teacher as well. So my piano teacher, his name is Iris Stein, and he was actually a recording artist for this company called Windham Hill. And they did a lot of like new age piano stuff. So, you know, like... like this very kind of like, you know, songs were titled like The Sea, Open Plains. Like one of my favorite albums is from Philip Aberg, High Plains, where the song goes like, oh, what was it? Oh, that's what it is. And then it goes. And then it like does tricky harmony stuff. It goes like, something like that. And then it would go to like. Like, this is what I grew up with in terms of, like, fundamental, this is where my piano teacher came from, this is what... And so that's going to be, like, a massive part of me, like, forever. Anyway. Wrong notes at the wrong times, wrong notes, you got it. I've been digging the Beatles recently, they're way more fascinating than what I thought. Everyone, oh my god, it's crazy, dude. Like, I feel like... so many people know all the early stuff of the Beatles. It was like the "She Loves You," yeah, 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 you know, like all that kind of stuff, and then like obviously like all the hits and stuff like that. Like, what is it? Like, I don't know, like Lucy's got that, you know, whatever. All the hits. Here Comes the Sun, banger by the way. But you dig in, there's some wacky shit that they were doing. Thank God for LSD for them, right? Hey. But yeah, there's some really, really amazing stuff. And I remember listening to the anthology series, like a lot. So there are specific versions of songs that I prefer. I think one of them is like Your Mother Should Know. The original song is a McCartney one. It's like Your Mother Should Know. You know, it's like it's nice, it's cute. Let's go get up and but the acoustic like demo version on the anthology series is like this really like, it like transforms it into kind of, it's like it's a ballad. It's kind of sad, but like in a great way. Like let's all get up and dance to the song that was a hit before. What was it? I don't know. Point is, it's a whole thing. I do have to head out now, but it was great tuning in as always. Hope to catch you stream again soon. Hey, thanks! I guess for more info, I also should wrap up probably, to be honest. So next week I might do Tomodachi Life again for Tuesday night. I might go back to Pokopia. I have not touched that game in like a month and a half, and I'm kind of like, what's going on over there? So that might be a thing. Who knows? I'll have to figure it out. And yeah, for June games, I think what I'm gonna do, because there's a very, very, very big release happening at the beginning of July, and that is Rhythm Heaven. I have a plan for Rhythm Heaven. I have a very, very, very special plan for that game. Streaming it. Yeah, I won't say it, but just know that I have something in mind for that. But in preparation, Tuesday nights game stuff at 7 p.m. For June, I'm probably just going to cycle through Tomodachi, Animal Crossing, Pokopia, Life Sim stuff. And then next week for music stream, I might do another analysis stream. Not of my work, but like other stuff, video game music. I've been doing that as well. You can go back and look and see all the good stuff. But yeah, so June is basically just like nice and consistent, steady. And then once July hits, it's not even just Rhythm Heaven. There's other stuff happening that I'm gonna do in July too. So it's shit's gonna get weird. Not weird. It's gonna be different. But I'm very, very excited for that. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. I really appreciate it. I always feel a little conscious about talking about my music because I'm like, I don't want to be like a weird narcissistic kind of vibe, but I don't know. I don't get the opportunity to talk a lot about why I love writing, and this is I just spoke for 2 hours about why I love making music, so it was very nice. Anyway, that is it. Thanks, y'all. Hope to see y'all next week. And I might post this on my main channel. Who knows? Anyway, bye-bye.